Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Quote from Muhammad Ali. Oh. Their mission is to mobilize Muhammad Ali's legacy to foster respect, inspire generations of change makers, and advance social justice. We envision a just and compassionate world where all people can reach their greatness.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
He'll fall an eight to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm going to cut it to 5.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ville Chillin' Podcast. Last couple of weeks, we've been talking about some of the more summer kind of activities. We've talked about Kentucky Kingdom. We talked about the zoo. So after that, we've kind of thought, hey, maybe we can kind of dive a little bit deeper and start talking about some of the more tourism activities for the summer that we could be doing here in Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when people think like Kentucky and Louisville, it's like bourbon or like sports, basketball, football, because that's just what people know us for.
Of it. And horses.
And horses, yeah. One time a year, people remember that we have horses.
One time.
But Louisville specifically actually has quite a lot more than that to offer, and we'll retouch on some of those topics that we just mentioned as well, but we thought it would only be proper to introduce some of the other like museums and Science Center. You got the museums, the gardens, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We're gonna start with the Louisville Science Center. So I think it's like 3 floors to the Science Center, and they go over quite a lot of different things. I haven't been in a while, probably like 10 years, but it kind of reminded me I need to take my daughter. I think she would love it. It's great for kids. I have heard recently that a lot of stuff they have right now is a little more kid-oriented, but they also have like the IMAX theater, where they show like almost Discovery Channel style movies and shows, I guess.
Yeah, I think I watched one and it was just like about like local animals around here, almost like their habitat around like just being in the urban environment kind of, and just how they adapt. It was pretty cool, especially on that big screen, man. It was badass.
Yeah, it's huge. I haven't done the IMAX probably since I was a kid, but it's awesome, and it's awesome that there's a company, or I guess really I think they're a nonprofit, but they they do a lot to try to introduce science and to kids and just to the greater community as a whole, and talk about how important science is to everyone, from kids to just our daily lives at home, at work, and everything else. And they even have a summer camp going on for kids from kindergarten through 8th grade, it looks like. Which is pretty cool.
Science stops at high school.
No, kids stop going to summer camp at high school. Oh, man.
That's when they start doing like mushrooms and go to the planetarium. R.I.P.
Yeah, dude, they need to bring that back for real. They closed for COVID. The planetarium was awesome. That was one of my favorite things as a kid. But one thing, we're not going to spend too much time on all these topics, but one thing that I think is pretty cool about the Science Center is just how old it is, really. Apparently, it's actually a 4-story building, 4-story screen. So 3 floors of interactive exhibits and films on a 4-story screen. That IMAX screen is huge. So the Kentucky Science Center has a rich history from its founding as a cabinet of curiosities in the public library system of Kentucky in 1871. To its current status as the region's leading resource for informal science education. As part of the city's efforts to revitalize downtown, the Science Center opened its doors at 727 West Main Street in July 1977, and its designation by the Kentucky General Assembly as the State Science Center was in 2002. The official name change to the Kentucky Science Center was in 2012. At one time, They had little more than an Egyptian mummy in a 16,000 piece mineral collection, and it's now the largest hands-on science center in the state. Favorites from the collection include polar bears and the Gemini trainer are still on display in the Discovery Gallery. Oh.
I love their philosophy too. Their motto, do science,
Yeah.
thinking of it as more like a verb as an action or whatever, to tinker, play, explore, and, kind of figure it out. So that's cool.
And that's why they boast them, or they like consider themselves, such an interactive center. It's more than just a museum. You don't go just stare at exhibits. They're pretty much all interactive in some way. And it definitely makes a difference. It made a difference for me when I would go there as a kid, being able to actually experience physics through the various machines and different things that they have. So
they have that one cool thing, like there's like a giant bubble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like where you're in the middle of it and then you
that's
lift it,
right at
it's
the entrance. And that's
Yes,
the
yes.
first thing you see. There's always
and
like
then
a
there's
line
the
of
mirrors.
kids.
Like when you first walk up there's the mirrors where it like reflects. I don't know if it's supposed to look like a bug's eye or what, but it looks really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Definitely worth the time, especially for kids, families. So if you're in the area, whether you're from Louisville or just visiting for anything else, it's worth a visit. All right. The next center or museum we have lined up is the Fraser History Museum. It's pretty cool. I'm not even sure if I've been here, but I've definitely heard a lot about it. Right now, their main exhibit is about the 120 different Kentucky counties and some history about them. And they have a lot.
I like
more
how they
than
said
that.
120. They weren't like 119 and Jefferson County sucks. Like that was nice of them. All 120.
All 120. Oh man, yeah. They have a lot going on. Apparently, they have summer camps as well, and a lot of.
Oh, dude, remember there's Ice Spice.
Ice Spice. That poor person, dude. Why would you do that to her?
Oh, I'm sorry.
They also, going back to Kentucky being known for bourbon, they do have bourbon tastings and stuff there. And I think it's the start of, it's the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Welcome Center is actually at the Fraser History Museum. So if you are going to come to experience the bourbon, make sure to start your experience at the Fraser Museum.
That just sounds amazing. Getting drunk and just like talking about
About the history of bourbon.
Kentucky.
Yeah, so their mission statement says, part of their mission statement says, promoting the understanding of our past to create a better future. The Fraser History Museum was founded in 2004 and is located on West Main. Of course, the Museum Row, basically, on West Main. So it's another nonprofit, and I think that's important to note because all of these that we looked at or that we're about to bring up as far as the museums, I'm pretty sure they're all nonprofit and all make their income statements and all that stuff publicly available.
I'm not an alcoholic. I'm a philanthropist. I'm over here.
Oh man. Yeah, so they got quite a lot here. Founded in 2004 by local philanthropist.
Hey, I said that word better than you.
He did. Owsley Brown Frazier.
If you want to re-say that, we'll go back. Go ahead. Just go and restart it.
Doesn't matter, dude. Founded in 2004 by local philanthropist Owsley Brown Frazier. The Frazier was originally called Frazier Historical Arms Museum, subsequently rebranded with a focus on the state of Kentucky, adopting the slogan, "Where the world meets Kentucky." Subjects of permanent exhibitions include the pop culture of Kentucky, the history of Kentucky, bourbon whiskey, and Lewis and Clark. The Frazier houses one of the largest collections of toy soldiers and historical miniatures on permanent public display in the world. The Stewart collection donated by Charles Stewart of Frankfort. And in 2018, the Frazier became the official starting point of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Every bit of that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Everything from like wait, did they say the world's largest toy soldier
Yeah.
collection?
What it says. One of the largest collection of toy soldiers and historical miniatures on display in the world. Permanent public display. So yeah, it's pretty cool. obviously learning about Lewis and Clark and that whole expedition is not just big for Kentucky history, but also kind of U.S. history in reality. Because, I mean, they did a lot, not just in Kentucky.
Yeah, well, especially, like, because you got to think, like, what it was with Lewis and Clark, like, that was the beginning of them going across the Appalachians?
Appalachian.
Yeah, like, you can tell I'm from, I can say Louisville, but I can't say that, so I'm from the west side. But, that was a big deal, whenever they first went on the other side, because it was really difficult. And then I think what's really cool is, like, once they get to the other side, then there is a lot of attractions with the being right there at the base of the Ohio River or whatever, like the start of it, with Edison having the light bulb. So like there is a lot of history there. I'm sure if you go there, it'll highlight a lot of that.
Yeah, it's definitely one worth checking out. Again, probably not little kid oriented as much. Although I know they do have some exhibits that
they got apple juice. Probably, I don't know.
They definitely have some exhibits that are geared towards kids. I'm pretty sure the Lewis and Clark experience they have going on right now, it specifically says it's kind of geared towards children. So, definitely worth the visit, worth the look if you're in the area.
What is it, 150 counties?
120 counties.
Wow.
Yeah, that would state.
That would take a while.
The next one that we wanted to point out is the 21C
21C
Museum and Hotel. What's really cool about them is the fact
that's trippy. Have you been there? The velvet part?
No.
That's like on the with the black light?
No, I haven't been there in forever. I don't know if I've ever been, honestly, to the...
They body shame bro, too, like...
That's a replica of David, inspired by Michelangelo. So what's really interesting about 21C is it started here, right? Louisville was the first location.
Yeah, I think they have, I don't know how many, I think they have like 4 now, or maybe 5, but yeah, it started here. This was the first one. This is kind of like
they have more.
What is it?
7, 8, like 8 or 9
they
now.
On it, dude.
Yeah.
Well, they have one in Lexington too. So they have 2 here in Kentucky, and then they got a few others.
Yep, and then like Chicago, Cincinnati, Durham, St. Louis,
and that's the only 5-star hotel here in Kentucky. The one in Louisville,
is it?
Yeah, unless the one in Lexington is too. I have to double check. I don't know, but I know that one's.
It's pretty awesome. It's an awesome concept too. You can stay and then, just sleep in the hotel and then just walk downstairs and go to the museum, basically. It's pretty awesome, and it's a total different spin on everything. They have lots of different amenities and all kinds of stuff.
They got like that ruby limousine out front or whatever.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth the mention. Oh, that food looks good.
Was that a burger with a steak on the side?
I don't know what it was. It looked good though. No, that looks like, is that like breakfast? Is that eggs or is that cheese? I can't tell, but it looks good. That's all I know. Would definitely eat that. So yeah,
dude. Yeah, our buddy jumped off Michelangelo like right there.
That's David. But yeah,
I knew it was one of the Ninja Turtles.
David was not a Ninja Turtle. Michelangelo was the creator of the David statue.
Okay, well, it's the son of Ninja Turtle. Okay, goddamn. Yeah, he jumped off the base and he had cowboy boots on, so he broke his ankle pretty much. But
yeah, that happened.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Like you're just looking out the window and you just see some fucking like random kid just like, jumping.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty crazy. So yeah, they've been in quite a few different magazines.
The exhibits are always cool
8,
too, dude. Like it's worth the trip just for the free exhibits. Like you go in there, and they're about to actually have a new one here coming up. House of Mirrors, almost, or not House of Mirrors, but just like a collection of mirrors, infinite mirrors, something like that. It's, I think they're bringing it from like either Cincinnati or Chicago, but yeah, it's gonna be badass.
Sounds pretty cool. Yeah, it says 21C Museum Hotel was founded by preservationists and contemporary art collectors Laura Lee Brown and Steve Wilson. The couple wanted to take an active role.
Hey, yo, Laura, Steve, come on the show.
The couple wanted to take an active role in the preservation and revitalization of downtown Louisville, motivated by changes happening in and around their hometown. So with their belief that art can be a vital part of daily life and a spark to ignite new energy and ideas, they created 21C Museum Hotel in Louisville. Their innovative idea developed into a center for culture, community, genuine hospitality, and artistic expression.
They really are awesome people. Like I've seen where they, I guess they have like a farm, I think, and like they give back a lot to the community, and you know,
that's pretty cool. And now they have 8 locations, so it's obviously it was a new model, you know, business model in a way, but it's obviously working. Wait, is that the check-in area, dude? Like, it's all just art. Like the whole place is just art. Cool.
If that's the Louisville location, that's new. I don't remember it being like that's pretty cool. Either whichever location that is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Continuing the art theme, you have the Speed Art Museum, also here in Louisville. They have all kinds of cool displays. I have been there. It's been a while, but it's just another.
Actually, my bad, dude. I was talking about 21C. That's the mirror thing I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be here at the Speed Art Museum.
Gotcha.
The Forever Mirrors, Infinity Mirrors by Yayoi. Is that Yayoi Kasama? Sorry. I said that wrong.
Sounds right to me. I couldn't do any better with that, but that's pretty cool. Infinity mirrored room. Sounds terrifying.
It depends on the trip. Where you're coming from.
So yeah, they got quite a bit on exhibit right now. And obviously they have more coming up. So just another, it's interesting to me that, you know, for being known for, you know, like we said earlier, bourbon and horses and like sports, that all of this is just here local to us. All these different museums and
yeah, and a lot of them it's really cool because a lot of these are like field trips. Like when you were a kid or whatever growing up, you know, JCPS or whatever, like 2 or 3 times a month you might be going to anywhere from like one of these museums to the zoo to, you know,
yeah,
Kentucky Kingdom.
yeah, exactly. It's awesome. So at the Speed Art Museum, we invite everyone to celebrate art forever. It's pretty cool. And now they're bringing the infinity mirrors. It's pretty funny.
That is awesome.
Whether you're an art aficionado or don't know a Dali from a Degas, you can find fresh inspiration and meaning at the Speed Art Museum. With modern architecture, expanded programming, interactive exhibits, and inviting outdoor spaces, the Speed offers countless opportunities for everyone to create their own connection and experience art at their own speed. So, pretty cool.
I love their mission statement there. That's really cool. They, when you go there too, it does feel like they really showcase every kind of different either era and theme when it comes to art. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a fan of like the more like what we're kind of looking at now, like the more historical, like Victorian kind of stuff, all the way to the newer kind of abstract and like surreal, and then all the way to modern, like new exhibits being rotated around. So it's just really cool that growing up like that was kind of like a normal field trip for most
Yeah.
kids or whatever. So really cool for tourists. If you have some free time, definitely check that out.
Yeah, apparently it started in 1925 too. It's older than I realized. It was originally known as the J.B. Speed Memorial Museum. So
R.I.P. J.B.
The Speed Art Museum was founded by Haiti Bishop Speed as a memorial to her husband, James Breckenridge Speed, a prominent Louisville businessman and philanthropist. So, yeah, there's a whole history here. We won't get into all of it right now because honestly, it seems like it could be its own episode.
One day.
There's a lot of history to all of these places, really. But just another, another museum that you kind of don't expect or don't really think of when you think of Louisville. One that we have talked about extensively before was the Slugger Museum, but it's worth mentioning again because there was a lot of history there. So if you want to know more about the Slugger Museum, definitely check out that episode, or at least the history of it. But if you're a sports fan, baseball fan, or even kind of just interested in how things are made, you can literally go to the Slugger Museum and Factory and watch how they make the bats. You can get personalized bats and different gifts with the logo. One of the favorite things that people end up getting are those little miniature slugger bats. You know, my dad had one. It's a cool place.
Yeah, even if you don't even have to be a fan of baseball. Like somebody was posting that on Reddit, I guess. Like I think they were just visiting or something. You know, they were guessing. They were like, you know, like on a level of, you know, how interested do you need to be in baseball? And someone was saying like, I don't watch baseball or really care much for it, but the history of it's really cool and the exhibits are enough for the trip. Like, if you're in town, definitely.
Yeah, it's worth it. Like I said, we've done a whole episode on the history before, and it is a fascinating history. It's crazy to think that it literally, like, the first bat was made back in, like, literally 1905, looks like. But, oh no, that was when the bat company had their first endorsement. So it's 1800s. Louisville Slugger's been around. It's
the world's biggest bat. Like
yeah, and you have that too. Yeah, the actual right there.
It's so funny because they did not look like they was about to play a baseball game.
No,
they look like they was like, okay, fuck you, Indiana. We about to go to war. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's also that's one of the things people know about the Slugger Museum, everyone knows, it is the world's largest bat. And I mean, what is that, like 6 stories, 7 stories tall? Obviously way bigger than the building it's next to, which is about 5 stories. So it's interesting. I've been there. It's definitely worth the trip. It's worth seeing everything. It's, again, one of those things you might think of when you think of Louisville, just because Louisville Slugger, you know, it's in the name. But a lot of people might not know that even though they're made here, that there's a whole museum, and it's pretty fun. What's up, everybody? We just wanted to take a quick pause and say, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. Drop us a couple comments. Let us know what you like, what you don't, and let us know what you think about the video. And make sure to share out with your friends and family. It really helps us a lot.
Yeah, we're on every social media platform. We're on every podcast provider out there. So whenever you get a chance, just give us a like, give us a follow. We definitely appreciate it. It really helps us out.
And with that, we'll get right back to it.
Yo.
All right. The next thing we wanted to bring up, kind of still on the sports theme, is the Ali Center.
Go.
And there's not a single person alive past the age of, like 10, who doesn't know who Muhammad Ali is. RIP to the greatest of all time. Boxer, philanthropist, activist. He did so much for sports, for people.
Professional wrestler.
He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he? He just got
Undertaker inducted him. Yes.
You really can't talk about like the history of boxing without talking about Ali. From all of his sayings that got him nicknamed the Louisville Lip, to just the iconic fights and pictures, the Rumble in the Jungle, just everything. There's not a thing he wasn't involved in. There were some Reddit posts actually talking about it, and he used to go to, obviously he went to a lot of schools, read books to different classes, met the kids, but he used to go into a bookstore. I saw somebody said on Reddit, somebody worked at the bookstore that him and his wife would go to like once a month, every couple months, and they said he was just the nicest guy, It's pretty awesome, and it's definitely worth the visit as well. The Muhammad Ali Center, proudly based in Louisville, provides education and community engagement to continue Ali's legacy and inspire greatness.
Service to others is the rent you pay for the... Wait, fuck.
Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Quote from Muhammad Ali. Oh. Their mission is to mobilize Muhammad Ali's legacy to foster respect, inspire generations of change makers, and advance social justice. We envision a just and compassionate world where all people can reach their greatness. So it's really cool. They have the museum and the Center for Humanity and Justice, and you can really learn all about his story, everything he did, and everything that he was working on. It's just a really cool foundation. What's this? Test your boxing skills in the recreation of the Champs Deer Lake training camp. Pretty cool. Train with Ali. So they've always got different events going on. I think they've even held like exhibition matches there, boxing matches, music, Ali Fest. Oh, that's past, but yeah, it's
Hollyville. I like that.
Raleigh tours. Yeah, they've always got stuff going on. They're really active on Facebook, posting what's happening. A lot of cool stuff, and a great tribute, a great way to continue the legacy of perhaps the most famous person ever born in Louisville. You know,
the world.
Pretty close. Yeah, might as well be.
Definitely America.
Definitely. Yeah.
The greatest country in the world.
True.
We're going to edit all that out.
So another thing, that Kentucky is known for, and especially Louisville, obviously, is Churchill Downs. It's worth the visit. And Churchill Downs
is older than Kentucky.
It is. The Derby is older than Kentucky. We've talked about that before, obviously.
Episodes.
Several of them. The reason I included Churchill Downs, though, is kind of on the theme of museums still, is the Kentucky Derby Museum. So you can go and you can kind of walk the track. I think there's a guided tour. They have just different things that they do. They have different exhibits on the history of the Derby and, different ways to like see kind of like what it's like in the starting gates and various different things that they do. Just another thing to do here that most people probably don't really know, that there's actually a museum, and it's right next to Churchill Downs.
And believe it or not, they have a bar there.
Of course they do. This is Kentucky.
Out of characteristic, right?
They celebrate tradition, history, hospitality, and pride of the world-renowned event that is the Kentucky Derby. Each year, the museum welcomes over 240,000 visitors from across the U.S. and around the world. With a general admission ticket, visitors can enjoy 2 floors of interactive exhibits, a 30-minute guided historic walking tour at Churchill Downs Racetrack, and get their heart racing and emotions soaring watching the museum's signature 18-minute movie, The Greatest Race, on a 360-degree 4K high-resolution screen.
No 720 round here.
Right, not even 1080,
4K.
dude. 4K. Yeah, you can definitely learn a lot more history on their website or just by listening to our previous episodes on it. But the first Derby was in 1875. Pretty old. Pretty old. Because Kentucky was inducted, what would we say, like 1890? Something like that. Yeah.
No, 1790?
No, it wasn't 7. Was it?
Yeah.
Well.
Math.
Yeah, it's not my strong suit. But definitely worth the visit.
You can rent the museum.
Time.
You can get married there. Definitely if you're visiting this summer in Kentucky or Louisville or whatever, go to the Derby Museum.
Sure. One we've talked about recently is the zoo. Obviously, kids love animals usually, and the zoo is really awesome. They got a lot going on. I was going every week there for a while. I need to go again soon. It's been a couple weeks. It's definitely worth the time. It's a good way to spend a couple hours. You know, if you have any interest in animals whatsoever, or kids have any interest in animals whatsoever, it's really awesome. The exhibits are really cool, and some of the shows that they put on, like with the seals and the sea lion training and just the different things they do, is really awesome. Certified sensory inclusive.
There's the trippy tiger, dude. He's definitely tripping right there.
Yeah. And then even if you come soon, you'll have to come back in a few years once they finish the Kentucky Trails exhibit, because that's going to be pretty awesome. They even have live cams of the seal and sea lion exhibit and then the meerkats. I wonder if they're doing anything today. We can cut this out if they're not, but
I like how they have a commercial for themselves.
right. Yeah. They're a little active
Oh, he's
now.
chilling.
Yeah.
Can they hear us?
No.
Make them hear us.
There's people there though. Fuck. They can't hear.
Dude, that'd be crazy. You're just at the zoo and you don't even know you're being filmed.
Well, you can't really tell anything. It's just right there in the corner. But yeah, look, you got one right there standing up.
That's Bobby.
I think they have like 4 or 5 total. Pretty cool. I always like watching the meerkat. So does Annabelle. And then the seals and sea lions are her favorite. Especially when they're out. Yeah, you can see them swimming, dude. They got quite a few out right now. Oh, just jumped out of the water. See ya. Or her, whatever it is. Awesome. Last time we looked at this, there was nothing going on.
No. They do shows sometimes, right?
Yeah, they do seal and sea lion training. It's really cool.
Oh, look, he's diving. He just dove.
Yeah, you can actually watch it. It says be sure to log on at 10:30 a.m., 2 p.m., or 3:45 p.m. to watch a training demonstration. So there's going to be one soon based on our current time. But yeah, the zoo is definitely worth it. Another one that we just talked about, Kentucky Kingdom. For a while, it was the #1 tourist attraction in Louisville, which, you know, it makes sense.
Had more guests than, we were just talking about, more guests than Churchill Downs did at one point.
Yep. And of course, it has a bit of a rocky history. The first year it opened, it went bankrupt. But luckily, some local businessmen decided to jump in and buy it and built it up to where it was, I think it said like 140,000 the first year in 1990 when it reopened, and then by like 2012 or something, it was 100 or like 1.2 million people a year.
He flipped it.
Yeah, it literally
Like twice.
Yeah, because he ended up having to, or Six Flags bought it, and then they had their issues, and then it was closed down for several years, and then he bought it again and has now sold it again. But awesome history, and they have some awesome stuff going on. So even if you are in Louisville for like family stuff around Christmas, they have a whole Christmas thing going on this year, lighting it up with all kinds of lights. They're even going to have snow tubing, and should prove to be pretty interesting. 175-foot long snow tubing hill featuring real snow. So they're going to have like a Rudolph exhibit and different things. So Kentucky Kingdom's definitely worth the trip if you've never been. And then while you're here, you might as well stay a weekend, check out some of these other attractions. I've been to Kings Island, Holiday World, and all those, and Kentucky Kingdom's right there with them. I think for a while it was considered one of the fastest growing amusement parks in the country. Definitely worth the visit, especially if you've never been. Oh yeah, and Halloween they have pumpkin stuff, like Halloween themed stuff. So definitely worth the visit for if you're in town for anything around those times, or just to travel to, and then check out some of the other museums. The last thing, there's a couple things we're talking about within this one, but the waterfront. The waterfront is just awesome. obviously the Derby Festival, that whole week leading up to the Derby is held there. You have tons of concerts and festivals that are going to be there. The Gazebo Fest was there. Jack Harlow's Gazebo Fest was at the waterfront, right? It got rained out, but it was there, for a day. The waterfront it's truly awesome. There's a ton of walking that you can do, sidewalks. There's some little features and attractions. They have yoga classes, apparently, historic walking tours, paddle boarding, all kinds of stuff. An urban market's going to be there July 6th. A lot of different stuff. And one thing that's really awesome is the botanical gardens at the waterfront. So they have this whole botanical garden that you can kind of walk around. You can go pretty much every day of the week except Monday and Tuesday. But they have different events and classes that they host. So you have the garden walk and talk. You have the art of floral photography, kind of learn how to showcase flowers and different plants and everything, and the best way to frame them for photography. And they do a lot to promote and help teach or make sure people know how to garden and like kind of plan out gardens, things like that. It's pretty awesome, and it has pretty awesome history as well. The Waterfront Botanical Gardens was started by Botanica, an umbrella organization for the local gardening community, which started in 1993 to help enlighten, entertain, and educate the community about the botanical world. In 2001, Botanica learned that it was the beneficiary of a trust established by member Helen Harrigan, a local gardener with the desire to see a botanical garden and conservatory built in Louisville. Helen's gift reshaped the focus of this organization, and we set about our work to create what has become Louisville's Waterfront Botanical Gardens.
And that stuff's like really important, especially here, like in Louisville or Kentucky in general. Really is the climate, the way the climate is. I think that education is really important, like as far as like invasive species and things like that.
Yeah,
it could get bad.
They do a lot to kind of help educate and
water wall.
Yeah, they have that whole water wall.
That sounds cool.
This was like before it was done. That's during construction, and then that's what it was like in 2020. So it's pretty awesome. It took quite a few years to actually get it built, and it's somewhat newer, really. I mean, where is it at? First building identified 2016, groundbreaking ceremony 2017. So yeah, it's a recent thing, but it looks really cool, and just the history behind it, how like a member of Botanica just kind of left a trust to be able to do this, and that they took that and decided to carry on that passion it's just awesome. It's an awesome story.
Definitely.
And worth the visit. The last thing that we were going to bring up today, and it's actually a free thing, but it's really cool and a notable attraction here in Louisville, is the Big Four Bridge. Now, I had to look it up because I had no idea why it was called the Big Four Bridge, but it's named because it used to be a railroad bridge, and it was part of what was nicknamed the Big Four railroad track, and it carried people between like Chicago, Cincinnati, St. Louis, and a fourth city I can't remember right now.
Louisville?
No, I mean it traveled through Louisville, but it went somewhere else.
We'll keep it going. We'll keep it going. Say it's Louisville.
But it's pretty awesome. The bridge itself was constructed in 1895, and then it operated until 1969 when it was decommissioned as a railroad bridge. But then
they were like, we can't put trains on it, but y'all can walk on it.
Yeah, well, the whole railroad became defunct, like that whole track.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't like just the bridge. The waterfront master plan that was developed in the early 1990s kind of included turning it into the Big Four Bridge. And on February 6, 2013, the city opened an elliptical ramp in the bridge to pedestrians and bicycles. So an average of 105 million pedestrians and bicycles cross the bridge each year. And in 2014, Jeffersonville built their ramp to complete the bridge experience. So you can literally just walk a half mile across the bridge. And, each ramp is a quarter mile. And then the bridge itself is a half mile. It says the entire distance totals 2 miles. How?
Math. Wait.
Yeah, but it's a half mile. The bridge itself is a half mile, and each ramp is a quarter mile. So a quarter plus a quarter is a half, and then plus another half is 1 mile. Either way.
No. Wait. So.
And back again. That's what they're talking about. Okay. That makes sense.
And we were like, is that Kentucky math or Indiana math?
Well, because it says the entire distance totals 2 miles, but that's if you walk there and back. I thought they were just talking about the length of the bridge itself. Either way, as you can see in the pictures, at night it's lit up with various colored LEDs, and it looks awesome. Like even just driving across the other bridges at night, you can always see it just glowing, and it's really cool. So definitely worth. If you're able to walk, it's definitely worth it. There's some rules to make note of. You can't have pets unless they're service animals. Can't host events there. No skateboarding, and you can't use electric scooters and mopeds and that kind of stuff. They do allow personal mobility scooters and motorized wheelchairs. So it's a cool way to get outside and experience it, and awesome to just kind of walk across the Ohio River. The Vietnam Memorial is also there at the base of the Big Four Bridge. An American flag flies 70 feet in the air and is visible from the bridge. Dedicated on November 19th, 1983, the memorial originally stood on the Belvedere, and in 2014, they moved the structure to its current home. You're down at the waterfront, definitely make sure to check that out. And again, the waterfront's free as long as there's not some festival going on that costs however much money between concerts and everything.
And even then, you could probably see it from the bridge for free.
Probably most of it, yeah. You're not and that way you avoid the craziness of the crowds. But the botanical garden is definitely cool. I'm not sure how much it is to just kind of show up. Oh, general admission is free. There you go.
Freebie.
Another free one.
Donations welcome.
Of course. But again, all of these are pretty much nonprofit. Almost everything we've talked about except Kentucky Kingdom and maybe the zoo.
Museums.
Yeah, all these museums. The Churchill Downs itself is obviously for profit, but I bet the museum's probably nonprofit. Slugger Museum, of course, the Slugger factory itself is for profit, but the museum aspects of all these places, they have a greater mission in mind, a greater vision to impact our area, of course, but then also beyond. And it's definitely worth it.
And we're really just scratching the surface when it comes to the different attractions here. That you could check out this summer, at any time, really. So,
yeah, there's neighborhoods all over the city with historical attractions from the Highlands to Nulu to Old Louisville, Germantown, Smoketown. There's so much. The breweries.
We're definitely just kind of touching mostly on the things that you can do pretty much any day here in Louisville. There's definitely the events, and if there's something that we're kind of missing, and I know there is, just let us know. Put in the comments, what's your favorite attraction? Something that if you was from out of town, if you live here in Louisville and you was from out of town, what's something here that you would recommend above anything? And we haven't even touched food either. There's a lot of amazing food places here too. I guess that's a whole other episode, but
we've touched on them briefly when we've talked about different areas, when we did the Old Louisville episode. But we haven't really scratched the surface.
Yeah, because that's a lot. Yeah, that's
2 years in, and some of these we haven't even talked about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In this whole thing. So it's really awesome. I love our city. I love the missions of all these organizations, the stories behind them, how they started is really awesome. And I think they're all definitely worth the visit. Obviously, if you're only in town for a couple days or something, you can't probably hit all of them.
Check out Iroquois Park Lookout.
That one's awesome too. Yeah.
Totally forgot
You
about
gotta
that. That's
be
probably
able
one of
to-
the best views of the cityscape in the city. Like, definitely.
Yeah. And you can drive up to it, but only on certain days. So I can't remember what days it is, but if you go to the city website for Iroquois Park, I think you can find it.
Yeah, it's something random like May 5th or something. I don't know.
It's like the
Wednesday
second
or something.
and fourth Friday or Saturday or something of each month. I don't know. But it's definitely worth it. And if you don't mind climbing the stairs, they just rebuilt the whole steps up so you can walk up to it. So that's another good one. So yeah, I guess with that, we will call it there. It's been another long episode, but I think it was definitely worth it and kind of gives just an idea of how much more Louisville really has to offer. So
Yeah.
with that, we will see y'all next time.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an 8 to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm going to cut it to 5.